Jai Hind, welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi Achint. I have with me Major General Rajiv Narayanan, who's going to try and make some sense as to what is exactly happening in Pakistan. We know Pakistan is on a slippery slope. My question is to where? It's important for us to understand where Pakistan is headed today. There is TTP on one side. I'd also call Imran Khan on the other side. There is, of course, the poor old Pakistani army on one side. And then you've got the United States on the outside trying to do something. So we need to kind of try and make some sense as to what is happening in this entire situation. What is the Pakistani state going to try and do? And do they even realize what's taking place in their country? I have, I have certain thoughts which I'm going to ask General Narayan to comment on. But before I get into those thoughts, I want to ask Sir to give an opening comment as to what does he think about the TTP's latest, and I'm going to be a little bold and call it an offensive. Sir, good evening, and thank you so much for joining me on such short notice to give us your views.
Thank you, Adi. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. Uh, it is a very dangerous situation that is unfolding across the border to the west. Why I say dangerous? I'll give you a few points. We keep talking that it is going towards a failed state. Well, first, they don't have money to pay salaries to their people. Most of the provinces don't have money. As far as central government is concerned, they haven't paid the salaries to their missions abroad. I wonder what they're going to do here, and that's the reason why they're selling off their property in US.
US.
Okay, and they're planning to take something else on rent. And I'm 100% sure that some other place on rent is going to be somebody from one of the political parties who will make a pie out of the rent. That has been the standard norm every time. So that is nothing new. But the issue is that you don't have money to pay salaries. You don't have money to pay back your interest because the loans are not coming. IMF has not given it back given the next tranche of money. You have, I don't know how the oil and how you're surviving, because the last report you also had referred to mentioned that 80 almost 80% of their oil and gas reserves have been consumed. That is the
Consumed already.
strategic reserve. So now that is a very dangerous situation for the country to come down to, that you don't have anything. And that is, I think, the reason why TTP is getting emboldened. Because how do you react? He is very sure that he doesn't have fuel for the attack helicopters and aircrafts. Ikka dukka hi le lega. That was what he was using. So how does he accommodate? That is number one. Number two, does he have the wherewithal? How much ammunition has he got left? At one point in time, he used to talk of 3 days. अभी कुछ बचा भी है, बचा भी है तो लेके कैसे जाएगा जब फ्यूल नहीं है तुम्हारे पास? जो गन्स के पास हैं वही हैं. And the third issue why I say is getting dangerous is because the TTP and ISKP appear to have coalesced together. There is no action being taken against ISKP by the Taliban, and the TTP, there is no action against them. So, like I have always been saying earlier also, that they are all part of one umbrella. There will be some hardcore element in A, B, and C, but the basic ground foot soldier is the same, depending on who gives him more money. And हथियारों की तो कोई कमी नहीं है. Look at the amount of weapons and ammunition and everything that was left behind by the Americans. And of late, you see them using them, the small arms. They're using them, they're using the night sights. How are they sustaining it? I'm sure somebody is providing them the backup to sustain those. Because after all, the night sights also need to the sensor needs to be cooled. For cooling, you require nitrogen, liquid nitrogen. तो कहाँ से आ रहा है वो? Where is the supply coming from? And they have openly said that they are going to establish an Islamic kingdom. Now it's Ghazwa-e-Hind. They don't talk just Ghazwa-e-Hind. It is Islamic kingdom in South and Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia.
Okay, and of course include Central Asia also. And in the first phase, they have openly stated that first phase is Pakistan. So we should not get very happy that Pakistan is facing such thing. Yes, they are facing, because what Hillary Clinton had told Musharraf at that time, when Hira Rabbani कार तो उसके बगल में ही थी, that uh, essentially, I will
Keep snakes in
paraphrase,
your backyard.
keep poisonous snakes in your backyard to bite your neighbor. It's not always the neighbor who's going to be bitten. Now the neighbor is not being bitten, not being bitten at all. So now these snakes are biting you. And itne snakes ho gaye hain, they've multiplied so much. Why? Look at the mentality of the people. यार तुमने बचपन से उनको यही सिखाया है. From the mid 80s you have started off radicalizing in all your schools and madrasas. That's all there is for the mass. He knows nothing else. Then what do you do? And a lot of people are leaving Pakistan, and bulk of them are these people who are going out of Pakistan, spreading. So what are you? So it's not a simple thing कि भाई टूट गया अच्छा है, ha ha. You have to be very careful, because these footprints, radicalization goes through the digital world. I don't need physical classes. Goes through digital world. So digital world में you're facing it in Kerala, you're facing it in West Bengal, Assam थोड़ा कंट्रोल में आया हुआ है अभी. So you got to be careful, because the fallout, it's like a nuclear fallout. The fallout will come along the neighborhood.
Along the neighborhood. Absolutely, sir.
So you
So, but
got to
isme
be.
one couple of things you've kind of, which were a little mind-boggling to me. Uh, One is the factor that somebody is giving them some spares to kind of this thing, and secondly, the American weapons that have been left behind in Afghanistan are being used. Now, these are a bit curious because American weapons, if I mean, who am I to say, but correct me if I'm wrong, are very maintenance heavy, and you alluded to that as well.
Yes. Yes. And ammunition भी फायर कर रहा है, तो ammunition बचा, बाकी ammunition आ कहाँ से रहा है?
आ
कहीं
कहाँ
से
से
तो
रहा
आ
है?
रहा है.
Exactly. So you literally stole the words out of my mouth. And my last point in this whole thing, which I want to ask you, is what is the background story now? If the Americans through some channel are funneling something, or is it some other power that is funneling something? What's happening? Excuse me. What is the end game in this thing? What is the purpose for that power to funnel this stuff into I mean, keep this pressure up on Pakistan?
Remember the statements made not only by Condoleezza Rice, goes much beyond. People remember Condoleezza Rice. Madeleine Albright under Clinton was the first arc of evil,
Yeah.
right? And it came from Pakistan till that place. Now, what happens when you have an arc of evil? You come under pressure, you want weapons, you want everything. Who provides now? Why do you think the narrative against the Russian equipment? So it's a wheel within wheel within wheel, but I always say the Americans are, they don't have a foresight, but they would prefer to create this turmoil, and that is precisely the place. But unfortunately, they have gone beyond in their arc of evil and stretched it into Ukraine. Why I say arc of evil into Ukraine is the amount of weapons that have been dumped there. वो अब किसी को पता ही नहीं है कहाँ गए हैं, किसके पास है, कितना गया है, who's got it, who's not got it. And the whole amount of small arms, if you dump out there, you know what happens there? Anybody will pick up a gun and you will start fighting. You try to talk to Putin to say कि भाई छोड़ दो, निकल जाओ, and we will go back to the drawing board and talk. But once the leak of Minsk agreement has taken place, it's
Oof.
not going to take place. It's not going to take place. And it's going to carry on. So that becomes the arc of evil, and NATO starts buying. They're already starting to buy weapons from them. Now, if he creates all these problems on your doorstep, and I'm sure, look at the kind of problem that Sheikh Hasina is facing on your east because of price rise and other things. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party, Khalida Zia, feels that this is the moment for her to win back the elections. But her backers are hardliners, Jamayatis. So you have two unsettled flanks. You will want weapons. And with this problem, which will continue in Russia's backyard, will he be able to provide you weapons? If he's not able to provide you weapons, whom do you go to? US. US and the West. That's it. West
May I
wing
put something
will
across, sir? I'm
Pardon?
sorry to interject. May I put something across? You
Yeah.
said doorstep, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is curious. Now let's look at that particular statement that you said, sir, and we'll take this and then let's get back to Pakistan after that.
Yeah.
And guys, hear me out when I say this, okay? Doorstep. This is a crazy thought. I may be sounding absolutely lunatic, but this is what I think. There are three major power centers in the world today, right? You've got the Russians, you've got the Chinese, and you've got an emerging power of some sort which is coming out of India, especially after COVID, especially after the stand in Ukraine and stuff like that. There's a voice that is coming out of India. A lot of countries are standing behind. Look at the war in Ukraine, sir. Russia's doorstep. Look at the war in Taiwan. China's doorstep. This is the third one on our doorstep, sir.
Of course. Pakistan goes into turmoil, it's a war on your doorstep, yeah. You think ISKP is going to stop at Pakistan? गजवा इन तो उसने पहले से बोल रखा था, even before all these problems started in Pakistan. And people don't see it. The biggest supporter for ISIS is Turkey, yeah. And if we go back to the 60s, the main people, they had created I think a regional cooperation council. I may be wrong. It was Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Iran, and Turkey. It fell apart because they wanted to establish a caliphate, re-establish the caliphate. And it fell apart because everybody wanted to be a leader. It broke apart. You still have Saudi Arabia dictating terms in West Asia. You still have Iran dictating terms in West Asia. You still have Turkey, which is dictating terms in West Asia and North Africa. And it's ISIS is its product. ISIS, all the fighters, everybody knows, was channeled through Turkey. They came in to Turkey and they were sent into Syria. कहाँ से आए थे? They couldn't go through Saudi Arabia. The ISIS doesn't have a base in Saudi Arabia. They were all sent via Turkey. That means the backing to ISIS is Turkey.
We also know for what. They had gone there for Assad, but then they went wild and they captured land and everybody said, oh shit.
No, initially first they came into Iraq, yeah.
Iraq, yeah, they wanted to.
Iraq has three places. Basically three segments of Iraq. One is Shia predominant, which is further toward Baghdad and southwards. That is Shia predominant. Towards the north and northwest is Kurd. And the balance area, which is complete desert, open, nothing much there, that is the Sunni predominant. That is where they made their Gadana. That was the base. ISIS base was there from where they were fighting in Iraq, and then shifted into Turkey, and everything shifted into Syria. Everything was coming from there. And from there, they have been transported into Afghanistan. So now,
Pakistan is basically, what you're saying is Pakistan is ready for sacrifice to kind of keep India in check.
Pakistan to pagal tha na, they never realized what they were getting into. After all, the ISIS ka support, if you look at it, the headquarters and all were all along the eastern boundary of Afghanistan. It's so very clear that was dominated by the Haqqani network. That means the Pakistanis were supporting them initially. तो ISKP के headquarters तो वहीं थे ना,
Absolutely.
Nangarhar and all that area
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
the Tora
Yep,
Bora
yep.
mountains and all, they were there.
Mm.
That is
Mm.
the Haqqani network base. That means Haqqani network is being controlled by ISIS, ISI. तो then who is looking after the ISIS then? अब वो सांप उनको काट रहे हैं, उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या करें. हक्कानियों को किसने बेस दिया वहां पे इन अफगानिस्तान? यही फैज अहमद साहब भी तो गए थे वहां पे करने के लिए. That's how all the other people, मुल्ला बरादर and all, pushed off to Kandahar. अब वो चुपचाप है, साइडलाइन हो चुका है.
Mm.
All those signatories who had signed in the Doha agreement, how many are there in this setup? तो अब हक्कानी को लेके आ रहे हो, मतलब तुमने आइसिस को लेके आए हो तुम. अब वो सांप तुम्हें काट रहा है, अब तुम्हें
But
समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या करो.
how relevant is it that the TTP has started? See, they released a map, right? India ka, let's leave apart the factor that they left Kashmir out and stuff like that. Nobody expected anything better. Of course, we got angry, but fair enough. Let's put that aside for a moment. Pakistan, they showed a thin sliver of Pakistan, and right till Indus, they said this is ours.
Of course.
So how
If you
significant
go
do you
back
see?
in history, all that area used to be part of either Kabul or Kandahar kingdoms up to the Indus. West of Indus वो कंट्रोल करते थे.
There was always a border.
Yeah, this was because the problems were coming, slave trade, coming across, raiding and all that. The Britishers, to secure, got across, went to the hills, and then they were worried about the expanding Tsarist kingdom, so they created your Afghanistan. Otherwise, Afghanistan had always been four kingdoms here. You had Balkh in the north, which was more Tajik and Uzbek
Uzbek.
dominated. You had Herat, which was Iran dominated, and you had Kabul and Kandahar, which used to be controlled by Indian kingdoms.
Indian kingdoms.
ठीक है, तो ये था. आप it only whenever they had a very strong person like Ghori or Ghazni or Abdali who managed to bring all the kingdoms together under one banner. अब कौन है? It is, you're all dependent on the militant fighters. If you're all dependent on militant fighters, it was foolhardy, I think, for Pakistanis to think that Afghans will hand over TTP to them. Why will they hand over? Because TTP is controlling the area west of Indus, and that they look at as their own territory. So Pakistan will be just Sindh and Punjab, that thin sliver which is going up. Pakistan is in for a very tough time. I wouldn't like to be in General Munir's shoes.
Really, sir?
क्या करेगा आप बताओ ना.
Now that brings me to a point. ये जो आ रहा है सर, TTP अंदर आना शुरू हो गया. There are reports about him collecting taxes in Waziristan. We've had two major incidents where they literally took over a bloody counter-intelligence station. They call it a police station. It's not. It's a counter-intelligence base.
No, there is a police station also which is separate in another name. There was a different place in Khyber
where they
Pakhtunkhwa.
stole the weapons from.
This is proper Bannu. People forget counter terrorism department ka post. Bannu is a military cantonment. Has
like
been a military
all over
cantonment since the British times.
Yeah.
Okay. Bannu is a proper military cantonment. उसके अंदर ये हुआ है, which is an eye opener.
How significant do you see this?
The significant, my worry is more that your rank and file come from the same schools and madrasas that you have radicalized them. They come with this mindset. and they have joined your armed forces. Now you tell them fight them. मदरसे में तो उनको you have made much of them and they are your superheroes,
भाई थे हाँ.
right? And they are fighting for Islam and they are the soldiers of Islam. They are the mujahids, they are the jihadis, they are to looked up to. Now you wear a vardi and you tell them go and fight them. Will you fight?
And probably his auntie's bhaiya's son or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. हर कोई का वो होता है. So how do you fight? Then what happens? ने मिलिट्री कैंटोनमेंट के अंदर ये इंसिडेंट होना, एंड टू गिव मी अ वंकी दिस थिंग कि वो उसने उसका पिस्टल निकाल लिया. अबे कैसे निकाला पिस्टल? हाउ डिड यू टेक आउट हिज पिस्टल? व्हाट आर यू टॉकिंग? दे वुड बी इन चेन्स यार. In the internet there were reports that there was an IED, a vehicle borne IED which was suicide bomber, two of them who blew up, gave the entrance, and 12 people heavily armed they went in. Now you are telling that there were only 33 people out there and you have killed them. तो वो 12 जो अंदर आए थे किसको लेके गए, क्यों आए थे? ऐसी तो अटैक नहीं किया होगा ना. There must be somebody, one or two people of key people whom you would have caught, whom they want. Otherwise, why would he raid a place like that?
And why a counterintelligence place? I mean,
Because वो काउंटर इंटेलिजेंस के वहां पे पकड़ के रखे थे ना इनको इंटरोगेशन के लिए. फॉर इंटरोगेशन मतलब मार कुटाई करने वाले.
मार कुटाई. उड़ाना होता तो सर उड़ा देते. They would have fired 2-3
वो तो
RPGs.
किसी को निकाल के लेके जाना था ना अपने पास वापस. तो वो 12 तो जो आए थे, जो इंटरनेट में बोल रहे हैं इनके, और जितने इनके ट्विटर वगैरह में इनके लोकल्स वगैरह ने जिन्होंने बोला था, वो तो आए और वो चले गए. आपने वो 33 लोगों को मारा है. अब मारा है तो कैसे मारा है? आप तो हैवी वेपन से मारते हो, तो उस सेंटर का हुआ क्या? So there are a lot of holes in their stories. It doesn't come clear.
Awesome, sir.
You don't just pick up a weapon, यार. If a chap is in counter-terrorism detention, वो तो पूरा chains, हाथ में chain, पैर में chain, गले में chain लेके बैठेगा यार वहां पे. तेरा हथियार कैसे ले लिया उसने?
If I know the Pakistanis, it'll be in more chains than one.
Yeah, so how does he take your pistol? And that also you say he took a pistol. And with that pistol, he made all the guards give up the weapons. किसको उल्लू बना रहे हो यार? Whom are you fooling? सच तो बोलो कभी. सच बोलेंगे तो पता नहीं क्या क्या निकलेगा. They might be inside hand also.
Oops.
You never know. Here in a military cantonment, how have these 12 fully armed people got inside in the first place? If I take the first reports that came, how have they got in the first place? If you remember 2008 PNS Kamra के ऊपर हमला हुआ था.
Yeah.
They were naval soldiers who were in cahoots with them, who had brought them inside.
वो जो अटलांटिक उड़ाए थे इनके.
Yeah. So it's not this is what happens, no? After all, the rank and file you're getting up, what are you teaching them in your schools? This is what you're teaching them.
So I have, of course, a lot of audience and a lot of questions here, but before I wanted to actually get into last question. The US now interestingly comes in and says, we will help the Pakistanis take on the TTP. Ned Price said this, and they've been now suddenly write-ups, and people have said, "Yaar, Bilawal Bhutto kuch game khel raha hai wahan par." Leaving that MORON aside, my point is,
bolo, sorry.
My point is, US suddenly is trying to say that, yaar, we will help you. That tells me some things. One, they have interest in the region. Two, Pakistan has found the third miracle. The first one was the Soviet Afghan and the Iranian Revolution. The second one was the war in Afghanistan. This is the third one. Is it really a miracle for Pakistan? Because this time the US is not going to leave Pakistan.
I don't think look at it more like a miracle this time around. Because अगर miracle होना था, तो अभी तक IMF के ट्रांशे आ जाने थे. 1.18 odd billion वो आया नहीं है.
एक छोटा सा वर्ल्ड बैंक से कुछ आया है सर, सम
वो
1.6 बिलियन
वो दैट
समथिंग.
नो नो दैट दे हैव क्लियरली सेड, बिकॉज उनके वर्ल्ड बैंक के टीम्स आएंगे, दे हैव आइडेंटिफाइड दोस 5-6 प्लेसेस वेयर द
हाँ,
मनी इज गोइंग.
करेक्ट करेक्ट.
Right, so that will go, not go to the Pak government, it will go to that World Bank team which will be overseeing all this work. So that means nothing as far as Pakistan is concerned.
तो
उसके
वो
हाथ
वो
में
भी
नहीं
तो,
आता.
हाँ वो भी तो एनजीओ तो चलाने हैं, तो उसके लिए.
हाँ, वो तो अब वर्ल्ड बैंक का टीम आता है एंड दे वर्क विद सम पीपल एंड द होल टीम एंड देन द मनी गोज टू दैट पीपल. उसमें से भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट तो गॉड नोस कितना निकल जाता है, हाउ मच गोज डाउन इनटू द पीपल इज
एग्जैक्टली,
डिफरेंट.
एब्सोल्युटली.
But the fund which IMF was coming directly to the government. That is of value, वो आया नहीं है. And his foreign reserves, they keep telling it is 7 billion, 7 billion. Bulk of his foreign reserves are made up by the money which has been given by Saudi Arabia, UAE and China, which he cannot touch.
उसमें से भी बाय द
Last,
वे ही स्पेंट 300 मिलियन.
he has spent some money from that, but the money is all from these people which he can't touch. So he hardly has any money. He is literally now, as they say na, बिल्कुल कुड़की street पे आ चुका है. Now, I look at the American offer from a slightly different way. Till now, it was the Pakistanis who used to say, we will moderate with the Taliban for you. Now the boot is on the other foot. That we will talk. And when you talk, you will take your pound of flesh. And now they are treating, I look at it that they are paying back the Pakistanis in the same point, running with the hares and hunting with the hounds. On the one side, everything is available to the TTP and the Taliban from all the weapons that were left behind. And on the other side, you're saying, okay, we will talk. Pakistan भी यही करता था. तालिबान को पूरा अपने तरफ सपोर्ट करता था, where they used to attack the ISAF and the Americans in Afghanistan, and they would say, we will talk, we will give you, हम बात करेंगे. अब यूएस का वही गेम यूएस उसके साथ खेल रहा है, कह रहा हम बात करेंगे. एंड रिजल्ट क्या होना है? End result, I look at it, Americans are looking at why they are interested in India. They know that India is strong and they need to hold India. This will be the anchor. On the western flank, I don't know whom they are going to look at as the anchor. Abhi to pura, I don't know. Abhi wo they have already started, by the way, in Kosovo. Croatia, उधर सर्ब्स के साथ शुरू हो गया है कोसोवो में. Okay, so will it spread into the Balkans? That's the moot
That's a
point.
big question, sir.
Yeah, that's the moot
Because that's
point.
a war bang in the center of Europe.
Yeah. So there, and if you're taking Balkans and then from there you come down all the way till this place, is this the arc of evil they are going to look at, which is a dangerous game as far as the world island is concerned. And Americans ko kya farta hai? Like I say, they are outliers. So as long as this is in a confusion, he is the person who's going to come and help people out in whichever way they look at with weapons and all that thing. Then he becomes the man to look up to.
But then you said there'll be a price to pay. What would that price be?
9/11 नहीं हुआ था.
No. Price to pay for the Pakistanis, sir. You're trying to hint on
Pakistanis
something.
तो price तो they are paying ना.
Is there any other price,
Radicalization
sir?
पूरा हो जाएगा ना. पाक आर्मी ऑफिसर्स को कौन, they are used to lavish lifestyles, वो खत्म हो जाएगा. The moment Talibanic way of life comes, just imagine what happens here to Pakistani women and the Pakistani officers and all. So that's the price they'll have to pay.
Nothing on the nuke side, sir?
Nuke तो the Americans में भी pushing the deal जो करने वाले हैं, उसमें nukes का कुछ होगा.
Because see, that's
They will take out the nukes so that they know that Pakistan is in a disarray. It's in an absolute disarray. पैसे कहीं से नहीं आ रहे हैं. चाइना के पास भी पैसा नहीं है देने के लिए.
exactly.
ठीक है. Nobody wants to touch Pakistan today. Like you had correctly mentioned that they had always tried to make use of their location.
Opportunities, yes, location
Right?
and
The
opportunity.
location. This is my geopolitical important location. अब वो geopolitical importance खत्म हो गया यार. Because the location has shifted to India. उनका खत्म हो गया. The question has shifted to India,
Yeah.
because it is only India that they know that will be able to balance China. Whether a rising China or a declining China, counter करने के लिए इंडिया चाहिए उनको. So Pakistan has lost its relevance. Now उधर पे उनको न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स को न्यूट्रलाइज करना है. Otherwise it will go into wrong hands and then there will be chaos all over.
The first thing they will do is take out Israel and Saudi.
Oh, Israel, Saudi, तो बाद में the hatred with Americans is hell of a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is what you have been teaching your kids right through childhood. And now Bilawal going to USA and telling कि ये तो people will be questioning him. आम आदमी तो पूछेगा उधर क्यों जाते हो? हमें तो सिखाया. We have taught me all my life that he is Satan. Then what are you going and talking to Satan? See the dichotomy of what you teach and what you do. There is no connection. So the common man gets confused.
Indeed, sir. Let's get into some questions, guys. And before I do, please, all of you, we're close to 200 people watching right now. Please do hit the like button. Check your subscriptions. If you've not subscribed, please do hit the bell icon so that you get notifications. And yes, of course, if you can, please do try, if you can, help out the Dev Talks efforts by, becoming a member, or, you can just send us some super stickers or super chats, or directly contribute to me at my UPI below. Please do visit the website, thedevtalks.com. Couple of interesting articles coming up, and I'm glad to announce, thank you, sir, for guiding me through that particular thing, that my article on Bilawal Bhutto is going to be printed in the Rajasthan Patrika, and actually in Hindi. So that's something very, very interesting for me. And thank you so much. I'll share the link with everybody so that you just give me your comments. The first one, Mr. Shankar. I hope this is not General Shankar. just joking. India should be inspired by Egypt's president and how he dealt with these rats. That's an interesting statement, sir, considering Egypt's president is coming for the, you know,
Yeah, no, you can't just pick up and copy. You see, uh, we are not an autocratic country like Egypt.
big, yeah,
We are a democracy. And that's why I said I don't like the term India or Hindustan. We are Bharat.
Bharat.
And हम सब भारतीय हैं. Whichever race, creed, clan, religion we are part of, we are all Bharatiyas. So it's a very dangerous thing to say that just because a few of those people are of a particular caste or religion are going to do something, you're going to sort out everybody. No, yeah. We are not autocratic. Yes, we need to target them, which is being done. As we are speaking today, there are NIA raids which are going on in Haryana also.
Yeah,
Right? So have faith in your government, have faith in your institutions that they are doing a lot of things right. That's why we have been, it's not for want of those people trying, but we have been protected from a major incident for quite a while.
true, sir. Thanks, Gayatri, for joining us from the alternate media. Thank you so much. I hope you like. And she says this was a good talk. So that's nice to hear. Thank you so much for joining in. Let's start. USA is only interested in using Pakistan for Iran. Afghanistan is a done deal.
Yeah, for US, Afghanistan is now, they have got their piece of cake. Now the Taliban is doing what they want them to do. Iran, Pakistan kuch nahi kar sakta as far as Iran is concerned. Let's be very frank. Iran is a different kettle of fish, way beyond the capability of Pakistan. They cannot handle them. If they unleash the Hezbollah and others into the Shia population in Pakistan, they won't even know what hit them. So Pakistan also knows very carefully what is happening. Just look at the spread of Iran's influence. If you look at, like in one of my talks and papers I had written, there is a Shia crescent to the south
Yeah.
of the Persian Gulf, and there is a Sunni arc to a Sunni crescent to the south of Persian Gulf, and there is a Shia arc running from Iran all the way up to Lebanon. Even after taking out the IRGC commander, कोई change नहीं हुआ है,
Change नहीं हुआ.
कोई change नहीं हुआ है.
That means the
And if
system
they
is so
think
well
that
set.
hijab raids are going to do anything, I don't think so. I don't think so.
That to
It will
me
be.
is, sir, theek hai, Iran is Iran. They will do this. And I mean, yeah, people are getting a little, oh, the public executions are happening. And hello, all this stuff used to happen in Saudi Arabia till 3 years ago. Where were all of you?
Have you forgotten how Khashoggi was murdered? टुकड़े
Have you for,
टुकड़े करके उसको एसिड में डाल के उसके तो बॉडी तक नहीं मिला यार. तुम क्या बात
have
कर रहे
people
हो ईरान
forgotten
के
Chop
बारे में?
Chop Square in Riyadh? I mean, so why are we surprised? This is how that part of the world works. And you raise a voice, your head gets chopped. Simple. That's how it is. I mean, look at the law that they have
Yeah.
for themselves.
Let's be clear. If you're going, if you say you're going to talk with CNN, American, can you take a centrist line? The more
Oh,
it is left of center or absolutely left here, that voice will not come out.
it's like saying Jay Russia on CNN or New York Times or something like that.
No, so the issue is that media is free, is not free even in the West.
True.
So they're not as, I would say, crude as in these countries. They do it very
Subtly.
sophisticatedly. You won't get
Nice,
to know.
nice, pretty women, well-written articles, and
No, no,
the
not
works.
no, no. I'm talking if you have alternate viewpoint, वो quietly आपको sideline कर देंगे.
हाँ.
Print नहीं होगा आपका, कुछ नहीं होगा, and that's it. And they'll do it in a manner which will appear as legal. They'll build up the narrative for that. So that's how they do it. That's what is the full spectrum dominance that Engdahl had written about, which US and the West have been following since God knows when.
We just come to realize that it's happening right now. Exactly, God knows when, sir. US may not be able to take. What will they do with them? They are welcome to take them in and enjoy. Sir,
They're not
may not
coming
be able
in
to
to
take.
take anything. They're only coming here to create an arc of instability and continue with the arc of instability.
I think the
That's it.
arc of instability, as you described it, is pointed towards.
Yeah. So you have to, so they want you. There is arc of instability on your left flank. There is something going on your eastern flank, and you have to support. And your good friend is now busy with his own war on his doorstep. So whom do you turn to for whatever you want? Him.
That's just blows my
That's
head,
how.
sir. I mean,
That's
it just
the that's the geopolitical game being played. No, somebody is fighting and he comes as the moderator to help and other things, so he becomes the de facto. You look upon him as the big brother ki wo madad
बड़ा
karega,
भाई.
bada bhai hai. So automatically he gets to dominate this world in this century. That is the game that he's going to play, and that was the game China was trying to counter, little realizing that they were not as powerful as him.
Sir,
The
for
only,
our next talk, trust me, we need to go through this particular line of thought and let's take it section by section and around the world and see what's happening around to make sense of this little talk
yeah,
that we
yeah,
have. Because this is very curious to me. Any country that rises up,
has to be. It has to be. Yeah, चाणक्य ने भी यही कहा था. He had said the same thing. If you read Machiavelli, the prince, though he is spoken ill of because of that and Machiavellian nature. No, but he was talking to his prince of how to make sure that you live beyond. There
yeah,
is also his discourses of how he has traced the how the manner of ruling changes from autocracy from kings to oligarchy to autocracy to democracy, and then he's called it as a cycle. He did that by taking a research of the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire has been through all this. It's a very interesting this thing analogy that he has drawn, because the complete Roman Empire over its centuries has gone through emperors, and then diarchy, triarchy, oligarchy, autocracy, and then gone into a democratic thing, and then gone back. That is, their democracy was a republic that they called, and then went back again to emperors, and so that cycle had gone, and he had drawn that and given certain perspectives in that of when such things happen. है अंदर लाइब्रेरी में कहीं, next time I'll show you that book. I'll show
Right,
you.
sir.
You must read these books, यार. Then
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is how you develop a perspective कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या होता था, क्या हो रहा है, कैसे हुआ. Read various treaties that were signed, what happened, why was it signed, especially in Europe. There are a lot of treaties that were signed through the 19th century. Kyun, kaise, kya, what was the thought process? You'll get a lot of writings on that. So you get a grasp of क्या कर रहे थे वो. When they talk of balance of power, our balance of power तो इधर भी था, अपने चाणक्य इसमें भी था balance of power. Circle of Kings, Rajmandala, that was balance of power.
Correct, sir.
Okay, so all these are nothing new, but you find out how things changed, and then you arrive at abhi jaise ye Pakistan. Where does he fit in into the scheme of things? But for us, like I always said last time also, and many places I have said, that we must worry if Pakistan breaks down. But where will the common man run? Forget what he has been taught in his madrasas and everything. Ultimately, it comes down to looking after his family. Where will he go? A lot of people are going out into the Middle East and other places. How long will they be permitting such people to come in? They won't. Look at all the problems that were taking place in Europe and other places. They're not permitting them to come in now. Even Africans, legally, they have been permitted to send them back to Rwanda, those who had come in. So, next door, अफगानिस्तान तो जाएगा नहीं, अपना कोस्ट इतना बड़ा है. Even your littorals,
Yeah.
लक्षद्वीप इतने अनमैन, लक्षद्वीप तो छोटा है. Worries of Andamans, there are so many, it's
And
700 odd kilometers long here, and there are so many uninhabited islands. What do you do? So it is a security threat for you. You got to be careful about it.
careful. And guys, we've done a complete show with regards to discussing in very grave detail as to if Pakistan collapses, what will happen with sir. So please check it out. And it's said the title of the show is Pakistan's Collapse is a Threat for India. Pakistan surviving on drugs trade. So the livelihood depends on Taliban. Pakistan will simply vacate the KP area to let the Taliban take over.
One thing is there, the people of Pakistan are controlled by the Punjabis, and they are a very proud stock of people. झुकने वाले नहीं है वो. They're not the people who will bend. So to say that they will give away KP, no, they won't give away KP without a fight. Yes, drug trade they were using. Drug trade for sustaining their army, and drug trade has been for sustaining all these people, the TTP and everybody. So why will he give up that drug trade for him to take up money? Because now that he is biting him. After all, those snakes are now biting Pakistan only, the Pakistan army only. Frontier Corps bolo, ye bolo, after all, they are controlled by the Pakistan army only.
Pakistani soldiers, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny they call themselves the Frontier Constabulary.
Constabulary.
I don't know where they got that
That's the
from, but
British
anyway.
term for the
Yeah.
police.
Where is Taliban getting its fuel from?
Yeah, that's the question. Everything they are getting, yeah. Black market of fuel तो बहुत है. कहाँ
Sir,
कहाँ से आ रहा है उसको?
there are no reports of people dying of hunger.
No.
There are no reports of anything. There are international NGOs there. There are international journalists there.
Food तो हम भेज रहे हैं. For the people, India is sending food. Why do you think Taliban is saying खोल लो अपना embassy दोबारा? We will be there to protect you. Because उनका दाना पानी इंडिया के बगैर चलेगा नहीं. India is sending the दाना पानी.
जी.
Okay, but like I said, all spares, which includes fuel, कहाँ से आ रहा है? How is he sustaining himself? कहीं से तो आ रहा है. कौन दे रहा है? अब ताजिकिस्तान के पास तो कुछ भी नहीं है, इस उज्बेकिस्तान के थ्रू जा रहा है. ब्लैक मार्केट तो बहुत है यार. He borders Iran, he borders Turkmenistan, he borders Uzbekistan, he borders Tajikistan, he borders Pakistan. पाकिस्तान से तो जा नहीं सकता, उसके पास तो खुद पैसे नहीं.
जी.
तुर्कमेनिस्तान, उज्बेकिस्तान तो ऑयल एंड गैस की कोई कमी है नहीं, ब्लैक मार्केट के थ्रू तो आ जाएगा.
That area is known for this.
या
Maybe some oligarch sitting in one of those countries and saying, "ये
दोस्तम
जाए तो ठीक है."
दोस्तम इज द बिगेस्ट केस.
दोस्तम.
वो तो कुछ भी कर सकता है किसी के साथ भी. तो ये एवरीबॉडी इज मेकिंग मनी, ऑल दोस पीपल विल मेक मनी एंड दे विल बी हैप्पी. हु नोज, ईरान से भी आ रहा होगा यार.
पाकिस्तान को कंट्रोल में रखो थोड़ा सा.
या ईरान से भी आ रहा होगा. ईरान के तो वैसे ही बची पड़ी है, दे आर नॉट गेटिंग, एक्सपोर्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, बैन किया हुआ है सबने, तो वो यहाँ दे देगा ब्लैक मार्केट में यार. वेयर इज द प्रॉब्लम? So there are three people all around from where he can get. Yeah.
My apologies, I missed
No,
the
no, no.
timing. Question: do you think Hillary Clinton's thing about the snakes in the backyard is an oxymoron thing where as it is the USA who cultivated the Taliban in the University of Nebraska who curated the curriculum for the Taliban?
See, in a way, primarily, why did Taliban succeed in Afghanistan in the first place? Because moment the Americans had gone, it became warlordism.
True.
And ExxonMobil was very interested in getting the oil contracts from Afghanistan. And there was a Brazilian company also, which now, of course, ExxonMobil has bought off. Forgetting the name, B say naam tha. So when these mullahs were being taken, when they went to Brazil, you know, it's a very bohemian lifestyle. It's a very open society. But they were taken from the airport in Rio de Janeiro to the place where the meeting was held in a car with blacked out windows, so they couldn't see out. And when they were taken to that secluded place, they were only men.
Oh.
No women were kept there because they knew that these people don't like women going around. So there were no women. Food serving, everything, all men talking men. But when they had gone to US, वो तो खुले में गए थे, सारे थे, लेडीज भी थे वहां पे, सर्विंग लेडीज का भी हो रहा था. They had actually arranged for signing the contract and giving it to that Brazilian company. Result क्या हुआ? That missile strike which Clinton had ordered, if you remember, into the Taliban camp, where I think Osama, I think, lost his child, or I think Mullah Omar lost his
Mullah
child.
Omar sir, I think.
Mullah Omar lost his child. Okay. Immediately after that, Taliban became dirty. उसके पहले नहीं हुआ था. And because of the warlords, they were not able to control that area. So they needed one person to go and conquer. So they enabled the Taliban, which you rightly pointed out. But it was Taliban were already there. What is Taliban? Talib means he's a student. So all the students from the madrasas were taken. I am not sure whether the curriculum was there being given from Nebraska, because the curriculum in all the madrasas was already there in Pakistan. Okay. And when you talk of Al Qaeda is a madrasa one of the biggest madrasas outside Peshawar. It is called Al Qaeda in Arabic, means the base. That was where the foundation training was being given by Osama bin Laden. That was his biggest camp. That is how the term Al Qaeda has come, that people who came from there. They went and captured. But Taliban gave it to the Brazilians, and so Taliban became bad thereafter. यही होता है ना. It goes for them also. तुमने उनको support किया thinking that he is going to support you. He didn't.
Yeah.
पाकिस्तान ने इनको सपोर्ट किया थिंकिंग कि भाई हमारा बंदा वहां हक्कानी बैठेगा तो हमें स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ मिलेगा. स्ट्रेटेजिक डेप्थ तो अब वो पाकिस्तान में देख रहा है. So it happened that way. Yeah, you're right in a way. It's an oxymoron statement. तुम्ही ने खड़ा किया. I won't say तुमने खड़ा किया. You supported its rising
Supported its
because it
rise.
served your interest then, and then it didn't serve your interest. So that's why I say the Americans don't have a forethought, a long-term thought. They look immediate. Next 10 years में क्या होने वाला है, and then keep changing.
Sponsored insurgency in Kashmir was largely dealt with a soft touch. Can that approach work against the ISKP? Will India be able to ditch it to protect its citizens?
We'll cross that bridge once it comes. We'll cross that bridge once it comes, because how much support will it get from the common people in India,
Yeah.
whatever be the religion? I don't think it will get that kind of support. It's, let's be clear, it's not that they have not been trying to radicalize.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has been going on for a number of years.
The last two blasts that were.
Yeah, large number of years it has been going on. But touch wood, like I have been born and brought up in a Muslim predominant city, Bhopal. I have a lot of Muslim friends, except for an odd friend whom you find who's radicalized even today. We are all good friends here, and everybody laughs at what people are doing in Pakistan, what has happened to Afghanistan, and how they have strayed away from what is the actual teachings and other things. We're still good friends here. In my school group itself, we have a number of Muslim friends, except, like I said, one odd who had become radical, who has been thrown out of the group. But rest are happy here. So, Aam Aadmi apna is not that radical. We need to be, yes, you do find people who get radical. Just because he's become a gangster doesn't mean he's a radical.
Yeah, he's just a gangster wanting to earn
He's a
money.
gangster.
Yeah.
ओके, हम बोलते हैं भाई दाऊद इब्राहिम, अब वो गैंगस्टर है. अब वो वहां गया, उनके छत्र छाया में था, तो ही हैड टू डू व्हाट ही वाज टोल्ड टू डू.
Oh
If he
yeah,
didn't do
Dawood has
that,
nothing to do with Islam. This, I
yeah,
mean,
and if he didn't do that, he would have faced consequences. So that's how the 92 blasts took place. But after that, did anything take place?
no.
No. So I'm certain when the push comes to shove, ISKP may not find the foothold that it is looking at in India. For that, we have to be careful. That's why I say Bharatiya. We have to
Bharatiya,
follow
absolutely,
Bharatiya approach.
absolutely.
That is what you have to look at.
USSR at least made a successful withdrawal, but US doesn't even know how to withdraw from Afghanistan.
On second thoughts,
Did they want
do
to
you
withdraw
think
from
it was that way? Or that the deal was that they'll give all the weapons to them? There's so much talk at that time that they will kill all their operatives and other things. Have they been killed? They've not.
Yeah.
At that time, it looked like that. But now you see how the cards are unfolding.
Freak.
So
Guys,
it
today's
means that
talk, what concept sir is given is something that we need to think about very, very carefully.
it seems that was the hidden deal in Doha. Because if you read the Doha agreement, there itself you were very clear that Taliban is coming to power, because it was Taliban and other parties. The government of the day was left as other parties, which was signed and sealed by the Americans. That means that other party, Ghani and all, have to go, and Taliban would come. So how does Taliban survive? If he has to do what he's doing now, he needs weapons. So what is the best way? Close shop and push off. Yeah, I also thought that They've run with the tail between their legs, but now you see the cards unfolding.
And this will unfold even further as days come.
Yeah, it'll unfold further. Everybody feared that the Taliban will take over Central Asia. हुआ
Yeah.
कुछ वहां पे? कोई इंसिडेंट्स हुए वहां पे अभी तक? No. All incidents are taking place in Pakistan. So I would say that Pakistan is being taught a lesson now by the Americans.
The World Bank has sanctioned $1.6 billion. USA is going to give them 200 million. They're getting aid from the USA. Will that be enough? And how should India react to it?
Don't read too much into the headlines. How is the aid going to be dispersed? When US says 200 billion aid is going to be given to them, let's be very clear. US aid, if you go to their website and read about US aid, the money can only be given to an American citizen.
Yeah.
Okay? So there will be no Pakistani involved. And what I have seen in Central Asia, where all these aid companies used to work when I was there close to 3.5 years as DA in Tajikistan, between 80 to 90% of administrative cost comes from this aid. The rental for the accommodation for their office, for running their office, the salaries for their staff, the internet, the fuel bills, the travel bills, everything comes from this. कोई अलग से नहीं आने वाला. It's not like India that when I say I'm giving you 200 million aid, the entire 200 million goes as aid, and the rest of the money is paid for by the government of India, which is not added into the aid. West doesn't work like that. 200 million बोला है, 10 million भी मिल जाए वहां पे on ground physically, it will be amazing. That is how they work. The Americans work. Because to disperse that aid and whatever the aid work is supposed to be done on ground, there will be a complete American team which will oversee. Yes, they'll take locals who will also be paid from this aid money. And the expert who's there will come. There'll be a team to do that. An expert will keep coming in and going back. And for his flying in and flying out, and he flies first class, not business class, not economy. Thank you. He flies first class.
So
He could be an NCO.
how do you get these
Equivalent
jobs?
to an NCO. He flies business class.
Wow.
Okay. So, to give an example, in Tajikistan, they had the West had forced them to give it to NATO for demining. Whereas they were very keen to give it us because we were doing our demining operation in Cambodia. They gave it to them. So they said, first we will train your people so that your people can do that. NCO rank का बंदा आता था. He was being paid 5 times the amount that a lieutenant colonel from the Tajik army was, who was the head of the team, a retired lieutenant colonel. He used to get $400. These buggers used to get 3 of them used to come. Each of them used to be paid 2,300 or 2,000 something like that dollars. They used to fly in first class and fly out first class. जिंदगी में कभी उसकी औकात नहीं रही होगी fly in first class or go out first class. They used to come there, make the training program, थोड़ा oversee करते थे, वो करते थे. Every 3 months they used to come in and go out. There was a huge bungalow, kothi, like we say, huge bungalow was taken on as rent for these 3 boys to stay, and who would come there just 3 days a week, once in 3 months, and stay there for about a week and go back. That is how their aid works. The aid is for themselves. नीचे नहीं जाता है.
And we'll be flying into a US airline, from a US taxi, from a US this, from a US that.
Yeah.
All the money gets rotated within your
Within
economy.
there only. Like when Americans say that they are giving so much aid to Ukraine, किधर यार, it's उसके आर्म्स इंडस्ट्री को जाता है. उनको यूक्रेन को क्या मिला? यूक्रेन को तो उसके भाई खाते में पैसे चढ़ गए जो उसने यूएस को देने हैं. The weapons have gone there. Rest is all gone to the actual money has gone there. Same is the case with this aid. And like I had mentioned earlier, World Bank. World Bank doesn't give to the government. World Bank gives to execute projects. IMF gives to the government. वर्ल्ड बैंक प्रोजेक्ट्स आइडेंटिफाई करता है कि ये दे हैव सेड वो फ्लड रिलीफ इन सिंध एंड अदर प्लेसेस सो नाउ दे हैव आइडेंटिफाइड दे टीम्स गो देयर they identify projects, they work on that, build out how it is going to be done, and then the money comes to that team and that local team which is going to do that, and the concept is the same.
जी
The World Bank के अंदर जो white skin वाला बंदा है, he'll be the boss and others will be there, they will form a team, they will come here, locals will be there, bulk of the money, वो हर टीम के लिए ऑफिस सेटअप, उनका रहने का बंदोबस्त, उनके खाने का बंदोबस्त, उनके ट्रैवल के लिए, because they have to every week they have to give an update. Where is the boss sitting? Is the boss going to be sitting in Pakistan? Will he be sitting in India? Will he be sitting elsewhere? Or will he be sitting in US? So every week that head of the team will have to fly. No video. Every day they'll give it on their Zoom. Otherwise he'll fly. So
wow,
that's how they work. Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's how they work.
Sir, considering the long-term plans that you detailed, their ideology, and then adding how India has been aiding Afghanistan, do you see the dynamics between the two countries playing out in the future?
अफगानिस्तान के साथ हमारा कोई फ्यूचर नहीं. इट इज जस्ट टू मेंटेन आवर इन्फ्लुएंस आउट देयर एंड सो यू आर गिविंग देम फूड. दैट्स इट. द लोकल पीपल नहीं तो मर जाएंगे. सो यू गिव देम फूड एंड यू गिव देम अदर बेसिक डे टू डे लिविंग नेसेसिटीज के लिए मिल जाता है उनको. एंड देयर इज कमिंग इन फ्रॉम ईरान ऑल्सो बेसिक डे टू डे नेसेसिटी के लिए उनको जो चाहिए. दैट इज हाउ दे सर्वाइव. Long term handling with such hardline Islamists is going to be a problem. So at the present, it is there to be with them to balance. Your enemy's enemy is your friend. Rajmandala theory. And once he's come on your doorstep, then he's your enemy.
True, sir. Absolutely.
So you got to work to, while you may be balancing, using him to balance you, Rajmandala theory also says that to make sure that you can keep a control on him. So the Americans are doing the job for you, so why should you worry?
Why should you worry?
At the moment.
At the
moment.
We don't know what's the future after that.
Yeah. So in the near term, he's doing it. You have to work for your medium and long term.
Yes, sir. Could this be a ploy to fund Pakistan military again and take them away from China, and the excuse will be to protect Pakistani nukes?
To some extent कुछ कर देंगे ऐसी. वो तो because he was supplying something to Ukraine, तो उसको उनको पैसे देने के बजाय F-16 को रिपेयर करने के लिए बोल दिया था. क्यों? Look at it in the larger perspective. वो पैसे किसको गए? पाकिस्तान को नहीं गए, वो F-16 की इंडस्ट्री को गए. That complete industry who was doing it. So there is no money which came out for the aid which they gave to Ukraine into Pakistan. It went into the American defense industry to do.
500 दिए 450 ले लिए वापस.
Right. तो वो 450 हिसाब हो गए. तो अब ये जहाज है इसके पास, अब फ्यूल तो है ही नहीं. उड़ाएगा कैसे? ये बता दो ना. उड़ाने के लिए फ्यूल चाहिए होता है. Why do you think he's so quiet on Indian front, except for talking and using all kinds of undiplomatic language and other things? Why do you think he's silent? उसको डर पड़ा है कि कोई मेजर इंसिडेंट JNK में कर दिया तो दोबारा बालाकोट नहीं तो ग्राउंड स्ट्राइक टाइप हो जाएगा. तो क्या करेगा वो?
फिर तो आर्मी गया सर.
So Pakistan, could you put that question back again, that comment? Just see if I've not missed out anything. Yeah, taking them away from China. He himself realizes now. Why do you think Bajwa was running to USA?
He had said it.
They realize that China has taken them down a garden path here with the CPEC. And they have no future left here. The condition in which they are is because of that. अब whatever ठीक है कि चाइना उनके लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बना के दे रहा है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर यूज करने के लिए थोड़ा तुम्हारे अंदर स्पेयर्स एंड अदर थिंग्स की काबिलियत तो होनी चाहिए ना, लॉजिस्टिक काबिलियत होनी चाहिए. यू नीड टू हैव द लॉजिस्टिक बैकअप टू बी एबल टू यूटिलाइज दैट. टुडे इज फेसिंग अ बिग क्राइसिस, एंड अभी तक आई डोंट थिंक आई हैव हर्ड मुनीर गिविंग एनी टॉक और सेइंग एनीथिंग.
Silence.
सन्नाटा है.
Silence.
क्या बोलेगा? They want to quietly play around in the background to see how to save, protect their own interests. Yeah, that is Pak army interest, not Pakistan's interest.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Sir, seed planted by Pakistan now bearing its fruit, and it's too much to handle for the Pakistan. No money and no money coming from the USA.
as you sow, so you reap. That's a very old
Absolutely,
proverb. So you
absolutely.
planted this seed in the mid 80s. You started it, and थोड़ा success मिला था when you were able to create problems in Punjab and problems in
Kashmir.
Kashmir. अब क्या हो गया?
वो तो अभी भी करेंगे सर, बट
करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, बट करने के लिए पैसे भी तो चाहिए. अपने जेब से तो नहीं देगा
वो चांस नहीं है
जो. अब ड्रग मनी जो आ रहा है, वो नाउ हिज बिगेस्ट इशू इज द ड्रग मनी इज द ओनली वन व्हिच ही हैज गॉट लेफ्ट. हाउ इज ही गोइंग टू यूटिलाइज द ड्रग मनी? Will he use the drug money for his own ensuring the sustenance of his own armed force? How much can he take out and share it to give it to these militant organizations? I think that is why the militant organizations are going against them. See, they are not the militant organizations in Pakistan. None of them are ideological. Let's be very
It's all
clear.
money, sir.
They will be थोड़े होंगे जो ideological होंगे. Rank and file पूरा जो है, he goes to the highest bidder. They are mercenaries.
वो तो नौकरी है सर उनके लिए, सिंपल.
Yeah, that is his survival. That is his job. Till ISI and Pak Army are giving them, जो अगर देते हैं तो they will do his bidding. If they are not giving it, and TTP and ISKP and others are giving it, he will do their bidding. यार उसके घर पे भी चूल्हा जलना है यार. That's what it is, and that is what you have trained the bulk of your population in Pakistan for since the mid 80s.
True. That is true, sir. There is no question about it. So, how about India's strategy about joining Tajikistan and Central Asian republics to tackle the problem in Afghanistan? How this strategy is all about keeping in mind that we have presence in Tajikistan?
It's on. In such issues, remember one pithy statement. I think Hamraz was the movie, very old movie. Rajkumar Madanpuri ने एक कहा था, एल्बर्ट जो कहता है वो करता नहीं है, और जो करता है वो कहता नहीं है. Right? So in diplomacy, there are certain things which you do quietly in the background.
True, absolutely, absolutely. And these are
So
things
having
that
seen 3.5 years and been in touch with a lot of people continuously, a lot of work going on, because I won't commit about Turkmenistan because it's a very closed sort of a country, doesn't interact with anybody. But the balance four really look up to the Indians. And that has been their norm for a number of decades.
long term, yes.
Okay, and India, till whatever you are able to do it, you have not let them down.
Indeed. Sir, we've touching about 1 minute 10. We'll just kind of roll through the questions. There's loads of them coming across. Let me see where I was. I kind of missed my place. Yeah. Seems like the weapons left in Afghanistan, seems the American left in the weapons in Afghanistan by purpose. I think you elaborated that
You
very,
hit the
very
nail on the head. It's opening
interestingly.
it now. It's
Yes,
all
sir.
opening now.
Paramveer Singh says, can the Pakistani seek refuge in India if things go wrong? Will India allow? If not, are we prepared to protect the border from refugees, not enemy
That's the
army?
problem I said. No, that's the problem I said. I don't think you would be welcoming them. You don't know who's coming.
Paramveer, as I said, we've done the whole show on this. I'd request you to check it out. There was a fantastic show where we actually brought about a very different angle of Pakistani collapse. हम लोग तो भंगड़ा डालना शुरू हो जाते हैं the minute we hear a problem, but understand one thing, we'd like Pakistan to have problems. We'd like Pakistan to keep looking inward, but not that many problems that they can't do anything after that and they collapse. So that's going to be a big challenge. So it has to be a kind of a balancing act.
See, if ISKP also comes and starts taking control in Pakistan, even if it doesn't collapse, two things. Before that, India, along with America, I'm sure they must be doing all their tabletop rehearsals, the special forces
Yeah.
have to take out the nuclear weapons of Pakistan. That is one thing. And I'm very sure the tabletop exercises must be going on.
Yeah,
Let's
there
be
is a
very.
policy also, na, sir. National security उनका जो
No, I'm saying with India and US special
हाँ,
forces. Tabletop exercise to take out, if I said Pakistan, my mistake, it is India and US special forces to take out their nuclear weapons. Okay, so that it doesn't fall into wrong hands. And I'm sure a lot of rehearsals and other things must be going on for these issues. So that is one thing. Second thing is, yes, once the ISKP starts coming in and that hardline thing starts coming in into Pakistan, there are a lot of people that wouldn't like to live that life, and that would be the problem. That's what we had touched off, which Adi had mentioned about. It is a very major security threat that is coming towards us. And
true, sir.
I'm not only talking of Pakistan, there is a problem which is coming up, building up towards the east. I really don't know how long, when Sri Lanka starts imploding. There's nothing much happening as yet. They are sustaining because we sustain them. Let's be
And
very
some
blunt.
tourism is started, sir.
Some tourism has started, but the problem with the paying back of the money and other things still stands.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No
That is
questions.
still there. And I do hope Nepal is able to handle themselves.
Yeah, and the right government comes into place. ISPR has jihad spreading Islam in their motto. How come no country has questioned this?
So Christians also want to spread a proselytizing. He will say we are proselytizing. So Christians and Islam, as per the book, proselytizing is part of their this thing. So why would anybody question? Jihad has been their way of life. So when he uses the word jihad, actually, if you go by the Quran and the Hadith, all the teachings that are there, the jihad is supposed to be your own internal fight
Yeah,
to overcome your bad with your good. Now, if you're going to, like, किधर बताया था? Yeah, see, no religion teaches you, if you go by all Quran, the first surah is help your neighbor. The first surah in the Quran is help your neighbor. It doesn't state help your neighbor if he is a Muslim. Please, it says help your neighbor. All this kafir and other things comes much later in Quran. Quran itself was not written by Prophet Muhammad. It was written almost about 80, 90 years after he passed away. By people who remembered whatever he had said and other things, whatever best the way. It's something like your Bible. Bible was not written by the
yeah,
Jesus. Bible was not written by his disciples also. Bible was written, compiled and written by the followers of the disciple. Much, much, much later. Okay. Now the problem comes when you take any of these religion by the book is when you try to use religion to gain temporal power. Temporal power means you want to rule. So you bring in all these things into your religion to be able to dominate. What was caliphate all about? It had nothing to do with religion. It was to be the capo di tutti capi, to be the boss, to be the emperor. The caliph or the khalifa was the emperor, period. You give him a name as a caliph and caliphate, it is empire.
yeah.
Okay. So This is how it goes about. अब ISPR jihad ठीक है यार रखो. The problem is now he is facing a jihad within Pakistan. So how does ISPR handle that jihad within Pakistan? ISPR is basically a press front, a PR.
I, today's show has been very interesting. Let me say this because at the end of it,
I,
it's
by the way, I'm not talking through the hat. Huh? I've read the Quran and I've read a lot of commentaries on Quran. I have read the Quran cover to cover. I have read multiple commentaries of Quran to understand. If I have to understand somebody, I need to understand that a country. I need to understand the culture and where they come from.
the way
So
they
if you
think.
want to understand a Muslim country, you have to know what is written in the Quran and know the commentaries of Quran. Similarly, I have read Bible and I have read a lot of commentaries on the Bible also. To understand a Christian country, a Christian culture, if the West is all Christian, US is Christian, to understand their what do they think? How do they think? That is how they will think. Na? उनका हिस्ट्री कैसे बना, कल्चर कैसे हुआ. Without understanding that, you can't understand a country. You can't put your template on them. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way.
This is an interesting question, and it's a long answer, sir. But just I'd request a short comment. Uh, General, can you shed some light on the emergence of Bhindranwale look like Amritpal Singh Sandhu in Punjab? He demands Khalistan why central government is allowing him to become a menace for the future.
One
Is he
sentence:
really, sir? Is he really?
give the man enough rope to hang himself.
And at the back end, start removing his sticks. Tuck, tuck,
Yeah.
tuck, tuck, tuck.
Give the man enough rope, he'll hang himself. Yeah.
Yeah,
In today's world, we heard in between a lot: Khalistan referendum, Khalistan referendum.
nothing
Sannata.
happened.
It's all
See,
silence.
जय भारत जय पंजाब साहब मैंने बोला था आई विल सॉर्ट दिस आउट फॉर यू इसका बहुत रिसर्च चल रहा है यार सी अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग दिस हैज अ वेरी डीप रूट दैट रूट नीड्स टू बी टेकन आउट आई विल स्पीक अबाउट दिस बट एक चीज मैं बोलूंगा आपको जो सर ने बड़ा अच्छी चीज बोली है जो भिंद्रन वाले था ना वो बहुत पढ़ा लिखा बंदा था उसने पढ़ी थी चीजें ही कुड कोट द गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब दिस गाय ओपनली सेज आई कांट कोट द गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब आई डोंट नो इट इसका मोडस ऑपरेंडी बड़ा सिंपल है ये एक आधा वो कुछ श्लोक वो बोलता है उसके बाद शुरू हो जाता है बीजेपी ये हिंदू ये दैट्स हिज गेम इट्स अ रेटरिक look beyond it and sir is right give him enough rope he will hang himself that's exactly what most of these people have done in the past 2-3 years so let's wait for it sir loads of comments yeah this one why was Mullah Abdul Ghani brother thrown out after the negotiations
He was not thrown out, he was pushed out by the Pakistanis, ISI. They wanted Haqqani to control. The hardliners were not there in Doha talks. So it was Baradar. So Baradar is there in Kandahar now, quietly living his life. And rest is history, as they say. That the
absolutely
hardliners are doing the job what the Americans wanted them to do against the Pakistanis now. It is emerging that way at the moment. And the
sir
Americans are running with the hare and hunting with the hounds.
it's the Americans now doing it previously it was the Pakistanis sir
Thank you, Ramani Saab. Thank you.
great this thing and another comment for you it says great insight
Thank
uh,
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
indeed this has been a very very interesting show sir so yeah how are the chances of a Pakistani army or its faction joining them to save their own interests
Will it go the way the Bangladesh army was in the 80s? I wonder.
okay
Because the problem in Pak army is that It's an institution where anyone who comes in is looked after from womb to tomb. Uh, I last time I think I was not able to quote you the quantum of land and other things they get. Now I'll quote you. As you keep rising up, moment you become an NCO, you get 32 acres of land. You become a JCO, and NCOs is what? One stripe, two stripe, three stripe.
Yeah.
Look at the land you're going to get.
10
NCOs.
साल की नौकरी सर, 10-12 साल की नौकरी.
Yeah, yeah. JCO, there are three levels actually. सब नहीं जाते, दो level जाते हैं. 1 star, 2 star. The रिसलदार और सूबेदार मेजर सब नहीं बनते, कुछ ही लोग बनते. हर बार जंप करते हो 64 एकड़ जमीन मिलता है. तो 32 के 3 तो वो ऑलरेडी आ चुके हैं, 96 एकड़, और अब 64 एकड़ और मिल रहे हैं आपको जमीन. ठीक है. लेफ्टिनेंट 100 एकर्स, लेफ्टिनेंट टू मेजर 100 एकड़ जमीन मिलता है. अब लेफ्टिनेंट, अब कैप्टन, दैट मीन्स 300 एकर्स तो जब तक मेजर बने थे आपको मिल गई. लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल बनते हो तो 120 एकड़ और मिलता है. ब्रिगेडियर्स एंड कर्नल्स, कर्नल्स को 150, ब्रिगेडियर बने 150. मेजर जनरल्स एंड अबव, अब मेजर जनरल बने 240, लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल 240, चीफ बन गए तो खैर पूरी पाकिस्तान आपकी है. दिस इज द मनी दैट दे गेट, दिस इज द लैंड दैट दे आर गेटिंग. नाउ आइदर इसके वैल्यू का इक्विवेलेंट यू कैन टेक अप लैंड इन द प्राइम लैंड इन द सिटी of equal value. This is the entity which is called Defense Housing Agency, created by the Pak Army, जो all three services के equivalent को ये मिलता है. रिटायर हो जाते हैं उसके बाद ये तो हो ही रहा है. They have a फौजी फाउंडेशन which is total commercial, which runs all, you can name it, different sectors of your कंट्री के इकोनॉमी में, कॉमर्स में, ट्रेड में, दे रन दैट.
वो तो फौजी फाउंडेशन तो
राइट. एंड बंदे यहाँ से रिटायर होते हैं, पंगा आपने नहीं किया तो आप वहां पे जॉब हो जाते हो. सो टिल यू डाई यू हैव गॉट दैट जॉब. Why will he break up and why will he want to break up his army and join this militant force and lose all these perks? ये बता. Yes, the rank and file will hesitate to fight back against the militants. But when the push comes to shove, they are going to fight because it is this way of life which is a threat. Why is India an existential threat? Moment he becomes a peace, people will start questioning this. So it's not an existential threat for Pakistan. It is an existential threat for Pak army, the Pak military way of life. They're used to this life. Will he break up? Will they break up? The radicalization has to go deeper. That means the ISKP and the TTP and all have to reach deeper radicalization at the lower level. I compared it to the Bangladesh military. Yes, the two coups initially when it was done, when Mujib was killed and Ziaur Rahman was killed, was led by officers. What people forget is after that there was a coup which was led by men. And they overthrew all those people.
All those officers and killed them right there.
Done the coup.
Yeah. There was a more bloody coup actually. Worse coup.
So when I was doing the staff course in Bangladesh 93, 94, the officers used to be very scared of the men.
Yeah.
They never interacted with the men.
I read this.
I think I had given in one of your talks.
Yes, I also read about this from a memoir of I think a brigadier retired from the Bangladeshi army during this time, and how he basically ran away from there to settle in Canada Canada, I think.
The first coup which took place was all those officers who were repatriated from Pakistan, who had fought against us, who never wanted Bangladesh to be found because they were very happy with all that kind of land and everything they were getting from there. And if they made Bangladesh, then they would never get this, though Bangladesh has also created a Shahidi Foundation, on similar lines, and they give them land and other things, but at a lesser scale. But they give them. They've called it what is the Shahidi Foundation in Bangladesh. So let's be clear on that also. Okay, so it will take a while. It's not so straight. I don't think it will be so straight for the Pak army to break up, but give it 5 6 years more, 10 years more, the radicalization will run deeper, and then people rank and file may start questioning the officers themselves.
Ideologically, yes, sir.
Yes.
Last couple of questions, sir. Sorry, this is something that we've seen. I wanted to. I actually scrolled down from it, and here we are, sir. Yeah. Do we have enough room to manage America when trillions of USD in its economy is in debt, holding majority by Chinese in form of treasuries?
You're quietly moving away from the dollar.
Even we are holding the
Read a bit
treasuries.
on
Right?
what all is going on, what all agreements on rupee trade has started.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're quietly, in any case, we don't hold much in dollars now, dollar bonds. You're right, China holds, but China holds about 42% of the dollar bonds that they have. And they are also, by the way, quietly now shifting away from the dollar bonds, and they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
buying gold. They are following India's path. India is also buying a lot of gold. Whenever the International Gold Council, I think they release gold. I think Switzerland based. We buy for the last couple of years. We have been the largest buyers, and after us, China has been one of the largest buyers of gold, which indicates that you're moving away from the dollar. You're everybody is worried about the dollar, and once your rupee, you're already done with. Sri Lanka is there, Russia is there, UAE is there, Saudi Arabia,
Maldives.
you're in talks, Mauritius से हो गया है. There are about 19 20 countries with which
Yeah.
you're going to do rupee trade. So for that, what they call the Vostro account is going to be established. RBI is clearing them, studying and clearing about Saudi Arabia का अभी रुका हुआ है दो एक का. They're all
रशिया का क्लियर हो गया है सर.
requests are all there. Requests
Hmm.
are all there. So they will open the Vostro account so that the money comes into through that Vostro account, you pay them. And the deal that India has done with them, that they will reinvest a lot of these money back into the Indian economy to set up various manufacturing elements and other things within India. Along with that, your rupee and everything a
All
lot
over,
of
sir.
countries in the
Hmm.
Middle East have started accepting your rupee card
Even
and
Europe and
payment in
Singapore, sir.
rupees. And
Europe,
payment in
Eu-
rupees.
yep. Europe and Germany, France and
Yeah.
Singapore. And
What they are using rupee because through rupee you'll be paying them in their currency. But a lot of Middle East countries have started accepting
Mhm.
rupee as a
Rupee.
currency that you go and pay in rupees. Qatar also, by the way. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Qatar also, and a lot of airports in these countries you have there that you can pay it in rupees also. And now that you're making the digital rupee,
Yep.
okay, so you will save a lot of money in printing money. It costs to print and mint money. It
That's
costs.
such a hyperbolics of a statement. So you save money by while
Yeah,
printing money.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Almost about
Yeah.
over close to 5,000, between 4 to 5,000 crores annually
Annually.
is the cost of minting your money,
Just
whether it
printing.
be
After that, it's
paper. Yeah, transportation costs are separate. Just the paper and your coin. Okay, so the moment you have digital currency supported, so that's why they have just started in a step-by-step way. Once it's acceptable, then your digital currency will be, because it's supported by your RBI. It's
Mhm.
not a cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's an actual your own currency, which is a digital currency. Then it will be accepted everywhere, right? So that is how you're going to balance out the dollar. It won't happen in a hurry, but I'm looking at it next 5 to 10 years. This is going to happen. and US is going to be worried. That is why the US is worried. And that's why you find good cop, bad cop. The Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, New York Times,
वो तो सर
and all those freedom of press or ye, wo, all those reports will come out. So
क्या
that's
religious freedom
religious freedom, press freedom का भी आया था. So this is
150
all
rank
good.
अभी यार people are laughing on the internet यार you give us 210 for all I care
Yeah,
जो
yeah.
करना है करो
So people have seen through that. So, but this I look at it as a good cop, bad cop routine
yeah,
because it's their worry and the way it is going at the moment. So we have to be very careful. So that's what I was telling you, what I want to look at.
absolutely absolutely and the last comments are amazed to see witness such a diverse perspective
Thank you,
so
sir. I
thank you so
always
much
tend to carry my own opinion after doing research, understanding, have my logic, and say I wouldn't like to parrot what others say. Either if I'm going to tell the same thing what somebody else is saying, then you might as well read what he has said or listen to him. If I'm coming here, I have to give you something different from them with a logic. ऐवे ही नहीं कि
yes
भाई I have to be different. I need to have my logic and analysis in place why I state a particular line. Because in international relations and geopolitics, it's like an art. It's not cut and dry. A plus B is equal to C. नहीं, ऐसा
no
नहीं होता. So there will be many perspectives. I don't claim that I will be right. It may happen that way, it may not happen that way. But unless you have multiple perspectives in place for you to arrive at what should, how should India guard itself, be secure, and keep rising, will be a difficult thing. Because if you look at only one thing and you have been blind to the other, वहां से कुछ अगर आ गया तो फिर क्या करोगे? अगर 360 का पर्सपेक्टिव रख के चलोगे then you will be careful, and I hope that I am one of the angles of the 360 degrees.
oh sir trust me the kind of conversations we are having and I'm sure please do read the comments people are really appreciative of the angles that we brought out the biggest angle guys here is the three powers and the three wars at the doorsteps uh, this is something very interesting this is something that has a lot of connotations that we need to understand because there's this is like the global game of geopolitics. John Mersheimer actually has written and spoken about this quite a bit. And when we actually look at it with what's happening around in the neighborhood, it makes a lot of sense. So that's something, sir, thank you so much. I think I didn't think of that particular angle at all. It just didn't come to my mind. So I'm going to be very honest in accepting that. But guys, before I sign off, please do like this video, subscribe, check your bell icons. And yes, if you can, do contribute to the Dev Talks efforts. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back for another show with General Narayan sometime very in the near future. I'll let you know. Till then, sir, Jai Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind.